My name is Ingrid. I'm 68 years old, and my husband Tom and I live in Sherwood Park. We've lived there since 2019. We're both anthropologists, archaeologists. We have one daughter, Erica, and a very exciting year for us in that she recently got married. My interests include walking, which I find very meditative. I love gardening. I'm volunteering currently at one of our condo gardens. Photography, canoeing, camping, and travel. I was first diagnosed in December of 2005. I had noticed earlier in the month a lump in one of my breasts, and my family doctor sent me for tests. And it was just after Christmas that she actually came to our home, and I remember sitting around our kitchen table, my husband and I, and her giving us the news that I had breast cancer. And it was very startling because I was a very healthy woman, I had a healthy lifestyle, and as far as I knew, I didn't have any breast cancer in my family. So it was a real shock. We were living in Yellowknife at the time, and the closest cancer facility was here in Edmonton at the Cross Cancer Institute. And that's a 1,400 kilometer drive or distance away from Yellowknife. And so I recognized, I've got to do a lot of travel. And when I came down here, I met my oncologist, Dr. Joy. He said that the treatment that I would have would be, we'd start with chemo to try and shrink the tumors, and then I would go with surgery and then radiation. In 2006, when I was going through my initial breast cancer treatment, I had to travel down to Edmonton, and at first with the chemo and surgery, I stayed in hotels, and sometimes with my husband or daughter, other friends stepped in. But for my radiation treatment, it was going to be for 6 weeks. And so I thought of just staying in a hotel just seemed really abysmal. And the Cross had given me a list of possible accommodations to investigate while I was going through radiation. And Sorrentino's Compassion House was on the list. We had a tour when we came down in the summer to scout out possible accommodations. And I was just blown away by Compassion House. Well, cancer can be really sneaky. You know, my first treatment was in 2006, and I passed 2016. It was 10 years, and I figured, I'm clear, you know. And then 2017, I started getting pain in my bones, particularly my back and my ribs. And it took a few months for the doctors to realize that my cancer had come back and it metastasized to my bones and throughout my whole body, so from the head right to the hips. So I went down to the Cross with my husband and spent a few weeks of testing, and they determined that I was in good enough health, even though I was in a great deal of pain and had a hard time walking and that I would be a good candidate for a 2-year clinical trial at the Cross. And so when I was diagnosed in 2017, Compassion House immediately came to my mind as a place to stay during my clinical trial. And so I contacted to see if I could stay at the home again. And luckily, you know, I was able to. I stayed here about 14 times during the 2-year trial, and of stays from about 3 to 5 days each. Well, Compassion House is in a great location. You know, it's only a 20-minute walk to the Strathcona Farmers Market, which I would walk to on Saturdays if I was here to get groceries for a week. It's also very convenient to the Cross, only being about a 25-minute walk. And I found walking very therapeutic. You know, it made me get out into the world, get to know my environment a little better, and notice the small things in life. I think with cancer, a lot is taken away from you, and you feel like you're sheltering yourself. And to be able to walk made me feel like I was still a part of this world. I believe very strongly that the house has really healing qualities to it, both in terms of its physical nature and then all the people inside, the staff, the guests. and also the many volunteers. So it's a very worthwhile house to support. Compassion House really gave me an opportunity when I came down here to be still, to have my own space and to think about what's important in life. And I realized more and more staying here that there's a lot of joy in life if you take the time to look at it. Compassion House was very much a home away from home, and it provided me with comfort, great comfort. But I think it also provided a lot of comfort for my family and friends to know I was in a safe, caring, and very comfortable environment. Whenever I think of Compassion House, I really do think of like these warm arms hugging me, and I just can't say enough good about the home. And I wish every woman going through treatment, could stay here to experience that firsthand.